Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing really well today. Thank you so much for joining me here. Thank you for this opportunity to come together, to meet together here, to know ourselves with the goal of peace, to know ourselves in peace, to know ourselves in reality. To know our joyful purpose and to live our joyful purpose, to live. Life is not pain. The ego's dictates our pain, but the ego is not of life. The ego's goal is not life. So today we really practice sharpening our discernment, and allowing Spirit's perception through us. Accept its message for your life. Accept that healing is your purpose, but healing is a joyful practice because it reflects the truth. Accepting more for yourself, and certainly accepting more of your day-to-day experience from within yourself. And that really comes from the discernment of what mind you're listening to. Are you listening to the split off part of your mind that you have given over to the ego, a construct you made? Or are you aligning with your higher mind, the mind of your eternal being, the mind that only wants truth for you, and truth is one. Truth is eternal. Truth is joyful. That we would practice joy through our vision, joy through the choice of our sight, and joy, again, in the thoughts that we entertain within ourselves all throughout our days. It's not some crazy, specific ritual to achieve some one particular thing, but it is to be at peace in our minds, in our body, in our emotions all day long, because it is possible. When we make our goal seem very grand to us, which we are here to accept our grandeur, to accept our magnificence, the magnificence of our creation and the power of our minds, putting it in the context of something, perhaps we'll use the word achievable, that seems more easily achievable, which would be the practice of the day-to-day, making the mundane sacred to us because we are sacred beings. It's not about the activity being sacred or profane or mundane or whatever. It is you are the being that is sacred, and so you can bring that sanctity to everything that you do. But we're really focusing today on the thoughts that we entertain for ourselves. If you find yourself being harsh with yourself, if you find yourself reflecting conditioned beliefs of limitation, if you find yourself sort of projecting from beliefs of the past, events of the past, mistaken choices of mind in the past, that can lead to a really catastrophic projection of the future and a lot of fear. We really want to break out of that cycle, and we can. It is well within our power to do so, but we do bring it back maybe into, we'll use the word again, mundane, in the sense of what seems like a very small practice, but that is all of your life. If the experience of your life in each moment is indeed your life, then what grander goal could there be than for your life to be joyous? But it's practiced and achieved in each moment. And so we bring that sight to all that we experience. But again, the focus is from within us. So the experience just walking around in your house, the experience driving in your car, the experience doing whatever tasks you do at your job, or whatever you are creatively expressing in all conversations with all people, it doesn't matter who they are. In your awareness of nature, in your participation with communicating with nature. That we would make this practice not something special. It's not special. That we would not make this a special thing that we need to really prepare ourselves for, or have the special tools for, or special modalities or objects or symbols or anything like that. Certainly we are using them right now, and we will continue to use them as we are here in form, but that we don't require them. We don't wait. We don't wait for any conditions. We choose now. Because we are that important to ourselves, and because we are that important to each other, and what we entertain for ourselves is truly what we are offering to all living beings. If you want to be of service, you can't be shitty to yourself. So we open up this field of form here to allow Spirit's vision through the field. We offer forgiveness to ourselves and all ideas of each other that we have throughout time. That we would let life move through this form. That we may perceive the truth in it rather than the illusions. Rather than the limitations, rather than the defensiveness, rather than the anger. Hionamua rumi hiorin soto wushni to rai yonyonto himyon sotroiti shikasi himayon yondroao hito sonya andri kamni toyokwa himoao shito kotipo ras no shinsondro ikom yashnitri him soto kita hinam nati nyati Nyati, Yoshiti kaosum so arito yonokonam natri, hi o arrio yoshono oratokoa, haposhitri himosonzo a wondritiana kantaya nishintiata. Ayana ini tayani sonso ito yonotuma tini umya inyosh. Sansiko yon sotroa unyum notroat. Kinotoyenitionot, himoson joitin sumyanti shinzondo sensikirit. It's kind of coming through as replacing definitions of things from the ego definition. So, for example, discernment. We talked about sharpening discernment. In many, maybe lower, for lack of a better term, lower mind interpretations of that would be perceiving danger, what to do that might be dangerous for you, and what would be safe, or what's evil and what's good, or what's dark-sided or what's light-sided. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is transcending that attack and defense, because that's what it is, attack and defense interpretation of discernment, and using the true vision of our higher mind, which is discernment of what is real and what reflects truth, and what is not real, and what reflects illusion, fear, separation, death. Because when we are changing what we think our responsibility is, which our responsibility is to open to Spirit's vision and allow it to be, and allow it to flow through us, then what we think we have to do changes. And when we get used to that, right, we have to accept that kind of living. It's not the way that the world lives, so we do practice that kind of living. But you must practice. You must actually practice it, right? It's one thing to talk about it and like say that we all believe in unity consciousness, but are you really practicing that? And you'll know in the way that you feel. And it's not to beat yourself up, it's not to judge yourself, it's just to move yourself closer and closer and closer and closer to more actual living, and not ruminating on death, and not ruminating on fear, and not ruminating on making meaning of illusions, but to actually live, to accept that you could abandon them, that you don't need them. Could you accept that? That's the practice. That's acceptance, that you could be without your illusions. To love yourself is to not entertain the reality of fear. Because love is your natural state. Love is God. Love is. And so it's already there. It's what's everything, it's the force of all creation. And so it's already there, right? We say this often. It's not something you have to learn how to do or achieve. It's what you let go of. It's what you stop doing so that you can really allow the truth, because it is the truth, to be. So the discernment is really what you should be spending your time choosing and seeing and attending to. Because the more time that you spend, the more unraveling the more dissolving, the more bringing into union, the more coherence with love, the more physical healing, the more emotional healing, the more that is undone. Yes? And that naturally happens, and you don't have to tell Spirit what to do. What you do is you attend to Spirit, and you let that move through you, and you let healing be. And so all of the orchestrations, all of the vibrational repatterning is happening as you attend to Spirit, because you are letting that through you. It's a very natural, it's the most natural thing in the world. It is so natural that you will not even think about it. But while you feel like you need to know how that happens or what you need to do by way of how it's executed, that's still looking from your ego's eyes. And so Spirit's just trying to gently ask us to accept more that love is a creative force unto itself, and it is what you are, and it is like the power of your mind when your mind reflects reality. So accept more reality, accept more for yourself, accept more. Stop accepting definitions of smallness in yourself, accept more. Smallness is of fear, smallness is of limitation. That is not what you are. Accept more. That all starts with what you entertain within your mind. Nindosum zakoshti kinitun, himondokinandi sioroko, himayunzo kuish nitrinihum, hinitoyo arraisti karatos tokara, himasonzo koshi kiani, hindokoa, inyomotoa, imjorotoa, isiapaya, himoa orrokoasha. Sanzata isio sokoai, hinda torai tinyumsika, himoa sanjati koma haiti, himoa satsata tarahiti asotsota, yashahat sotsoasha, anda wamatuama, andiataku, hito yotoko aoshimiti indi kanada oto yomi toyonoto ao, hi koroko arinum teatoko nompotokonata, atatakita soto ataishi oto sotso ayani. I'm sort of seeing like if you were walking around wearing the widest brim hat you can imagine, so that you were wearing this hat and you thought it was always dark and it was always shade and it was always shadow. Doesn't mean the sun's not there, right? The sun's there, you're just completely unaware of it because you've decided to wear like the biggest brimmed hat you can imagine. When you take the hat off, you say, oh my God, the sun has always been there, right? You don't go and turn the sun on, the sun shines, right? It's exactly that way. Don't put that wide-brimmed hat back on to cut off the illumination of this world. Spirit needs you to take the hat off. Spirit's not going to rip the hat off your head. But you take the hat off and everything else is done for you. And everything that needs to be done, everything that you are going to do in this world and make, is joyously guided, and so you aren't fretting about it. You're not concerned. It becomes an act reflective of creation rather than projection based on the belief that you have to do anything of yourself and that you're like lost. You're lost in the woods without resource. It is not that way. And if you're afraid about what you have to do, you can be sure that you're listening to the mind of separation. If you're listening to the mind of unity, you know that you're not without help. But it's the attending of that mind that is the practice of accepting help. The responsibility you have is of your choice of mind. The more you accept, the more you're able to accept is, I believe, directly correlated to how much time you're spending attending to spirit, allowing spirit, choosing more aligned thoughts with spirit and not listening to the thoughts of death. And let's not mince words about the effects of those thoughts. They create all of the horrible things we experience. And that feels very real to us. We don't want to take lightly the effects of fear in this world. Look at the world. And so that's why the choice is so important. Because you are very important. You are not small. You are not small. Your life is not small. You are very, very important, and you deserve to be as happy as God made you, as Source made you, as life is. You do deserve that. That is your birthright. And wouldn't you rather listen to the voice that's telling you that that's true? If you feel shitty all the time, what do you got to lose? Perhaps there's another way to live. Let's always be asking ourselves, could I see this differently? Is there another way? I believe there is another way. I'm going to find that way. I'm going to find it. And when you say that, it's there. It's there because you ask and you receive. Yes. Amen. I think I'm going to end this video here, and then I'm going to go and do the sort of deeper union membership tier video. Maybe me extending on these ideas of discernment, but probably be more like a sort of sound orchestration session. So if you're interested in that, you can join in the links below, and that video will be up for you along with many, many others. If you are interested in working together, there's many ways to do so, and you can check that all out below. So thank you so much for joining me. God bless you, and I will see you next time.